It seems that every FPS game I played has always been filled with blood and gore, making these games not accessible to today's youth. But today I aim to fix that, creating a game that'll be safe for all ages. So to get started, I created a new Unity project, and in that Unity project I added a bean. This will serve as our player's collision. One problem is that the player can't move, so I began implementing some player movement code, wanting it to have a similar feel to Orchard Killer Quake, with fast responsive movement mechanics that are actually really unique and original, and it's actually totally not the Godot of other. The code itself wasn't too complicated. The only tricky part was getting the camera to rotate when you went left or right. I originally wanted to use the animator component to rotate the camera, but it ended up being easier just lerping in between the positions. So now that we have a player controller, we need a gun. But the astute among you may realize that guns are violent. So instead of a gun, I used a banana, which is totally an original idea that I totally came up with and did not. So I made this banana in Blender. It's nothing special, but I feel like I could just grab this, you know? Oh, cool. Wow. I made some very simple animations, and now we have a banana that you can shoot. But I felt like a floating banana was kind of weird, so I added some hands that hold the banana. But now that we have a gun, we need something to shoot at. So I decided that I would be making... What was that? So the enemies are teddy bears, which I modeled in Blender, and then I made the animations all by myself. I used Mixamo, I'm sorry. The only problem with this is that there's blood. So to fix that, I made it when you shoot the teddy bears, confetti just explodes out of them. I don't know. So now that we have enemies, we need a place to shoot them, because this testing environment looks awful. So for this, my friend made a basic layout level for me, which I then went over with materials, lighting, and various objects. And then after scattering enemies around the level, we almost have a functioning game. But an important part of any game is sound and music. I've already made sound effects for shooting, but we still need music. So I made 2 tracks in Ableton, one for before you pick up the banana, and one for after. And the song that's playing right now is actually one of the songs I made. So now we have music, but how will the players know what to do? The only non-self-explanatory mechanic in the game is the in-air dash, so I added some text that tells you how to do it. Also added this very helpful guide at the beginning so the player knows what the objective is. We still need a title screen though, so I got to work making it. So after a couple hours, we ended up with this. In the end, it's just a banana on a table with a light over it. I also made the song in Ableton, by the way. I also added a settings screen and a credit screen. And now, our super basic family-friendly FPS game is pretty much finished. It's still pretty scuffed and it has a ton of room for improvement, but I kind of wanted to focus on other projects. If you want to play the game, it's on the Discord, so a link to the Discord is in the description. You should join it, for real.